There we go.
Hey,
Oh.
alrighty. Hello. We're actually recording on Sunday. Um, so that's
Uh,
weird.
we had not crazy, but we had eventful days yesterday, so we kind of forgot, but
Yeah,
it's fine.
we're both extremely tired. I was just
Mhm.
talking about this, but I'm dog sitting and I sleep over at the house that I dog sit just because the person that I dog sit for has to leave for work at like an awful time in the morning. And so she woke up, and long story short, it woke me up at 4 in the morning, which usually never happens, and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I'm running on, let's say, 5, give or
Oh
take,
boy.
take a lot of sleep. So
That
that's
actually
not,
sucks.
yeah, I'm so
Um,
actually, you know what? Sometimes when I'm drowsy or whatever, I'm not drowsy, like, I kinda start going off, so maybe this will be a good podcast.
yeah.
Might be a good
And say,
episode.
my best friend came over yesterday. I haven't seen her in like forever. So like she came over and we hung out. Um, and she stayed over like relatively late. But when we dropped her off, I stayed up for a couple more hours. And I went to bed because I was exhausted. And my mom wakes up at like 6 to go to work. And she always checks in my room to see if I'm alive, basically. Like, I'm not even kidding. She checks if I'm alive. And she was like, hey, Sophia, you should wake up soon because like, it's getting late. And I was like, yeah, give me a couple more hours. And then I woke up at like 8 because like once you keep waking me up, I'm just gonna start waking up and it sucks. So I feel your pain to a certain degree. Like thankfully I did get a little bit more sleep. But yeah, that actually sucks ass. Oh,
Well,
am I allowed to
it
say that?
yeah, that's fine.
I'm allowed to
Just
say
yeah.
ass. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Yeah, it's a weird episode. Um, I actually forgot to put on the talking points. I've been meaning to. We have a sponsor.
We do?
It's not like but it's not like a I wouldn't say it's a real sponsor. Oh, geez, they're gonna like it's an Anchor sponsor. So
Ooh.
Anchor is the place where we host this podcast. So like it just goes out onto all of the streaming platforms. And so I didn't understand this at first, but they have a sponsorship section. And so one of those sponsors oh my gosh, sponsorships is Anchor. Um and they have like a whole ad read and it has to be like 30 seconds long.
So
I don't know why I'm saying this all like in like I'm just gonna like say the price that we're getting paid. No, I'm not gonna do that. Um we all actually have like virtually no listeners, so this probably is not worth it, but do you want me to go for this ad read?
do you want to go for it? This is gonna be the most informal ad read ever.
It's a script, so I can't really screw up. Um oh wait. I think we have to like oh, that's why YouTubers cut in and out. Like it's a different audio clip for the ad read.
Because you have to send it in for approval, right?
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. All right. Well,
We tried.
we're bringing us to our next sponsor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free.
Not only is it free, Anchor provides creation tools that allows you to edit, upload podcasts straight from your phone or your computer.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more, just like this horrible one that you're listening to right now.
Also, hey, maybe you're looking to create a podcast for a little side hustle. No problem. Anchor can help you make money with no minimum listenership.
Yeah, it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and all the above reasons are why we used it. So, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Let me repeat that, anchor.fm to get started, or they have a free app that you can use. Now, back to the pod. All right, we're back. Okay.
I have no idea what just happened.
Oh, sorry. That was a separate recording because apparently that's what we have to do after you record the podcast. Then you record an ad read and then you splice it together so it's a mid-roll ad.
All right.
Yeah. So maybe we'll be making money. Probably not, but
Probably not. But hey.
So let's go into our first talking point. Sophia, how about you lead this off?
Okay, speaking of sleep from our earlier little conversation, I've been taking an ungodly amount of naps. It's bad. It's really bad. Um, I like felt like a couple of days ago, I fell asleep at like 4 o'clock. Because usually I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed. Like I'm gonna sleep for like a couple of hours just so I can not be tired. And then when it comes around to nighttime, like I'll get tired again and everything. No, I slept until 9, which I usually wake up around 6. So I slept an additional 3 more hours. On top of my like 2. Yeah, I ended up staying up all night that night, and it was terrible going to school. Like, I think it was a Wednesday. It was terrible. Just
Sorry, I just realized that my mic sensitivity was really low.
oh, no problem.
Yeah, so if there's like an increase in my volume, that's why. I don't feel like going through and like leveling it out, so deal with it. Uh,
we are professionals.
yes. See, that's why I don't nap. Because every time I do, I end up like having like a mini sleep, which is a
Yeah.
nap, but like it's in between a nap and like the time that you sleep, and I hate that because then I lose like all hours of like productivity. It
Yeah.
annoys me.
Someone's
Someone's gonna make, if we ever get a fan base, someone is going to make an edit of every time Evangeline sounded like an actual robot. Did you just hear me? I lost my hours. I lost my hours of productivity, and therefore I cannot nap.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say it straight up right now. Evangeline is just a straight up robot. She is an AI that I have coded myself so I can have friends. I'm just gonna say it straight up.
You coded?
Yes.
That's unlikely.
Yeah, I know. I did our code in elementary school. I can do that.
Okay. I don't.
Anyways,
Every computer science major is screaming at you right now.
I'm
Every
gonna
one
get
of them.
canceled for just saying that. That's it. Any
You're
chance?
over here like $40,000 in debt, and you're like, I can make an AI off of my hour of like third grade coding.
um. Yeah. Wait, I was about to say something. I completely forgot what I said.
Oh, that's all. That's all right. We'll just go on to the next topic. Just kidding.
Oh, I was gonna say if we ever get compilations, man, I am begging someone to make like 30 minutes of Sophia just being annoying. I'm begging you.
Yo, that's just the entire podcast.
Just the entire podcast. There you go.
I'm joking, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, this
Um,
next, should we say like this next talking point? Because I feel like people don't do that, but it's the only way for me to like keep
oh,
track.
I don't know. We have talking points because first off, I don't know about you guys. I tend to go on tangents and I tend to like veer off the topic extremely. So, and I don't know. Evangeline just put them there for organization because she likes to stay organized.
Yeah, I don't. Is that like annoying? Guys, like actually put comments. I know we don't really have a lot of viewers, and I don't know if it's spam viewers or that one viewer from Jordan, but
Hey,
um,
we're waiting for you
what?
to reach out to us, man.
Yeah. But seriously, like put comments about what you want us to improve on because actually, Crystalline, who was our first guest, our social media manager, um, we use that term very loosely,
Very
not to like
loosely.
diminish her role, but like we're not a business, we're not, yeah. Um, but she said we sound so awkward at the beginning of the podcast, which I feel like this one we don't because we're kind of like, oh, F it. But
Yeah.
that like I realized we do. Like it's really bad. We're like, hey guys, welcome to the next talking to this podcast. And
Our
like,
first talking point. I think it's just because I don't know. Like, I think everything becomes more fluid the more you do it. And hey, we've only
yeah,
been doing this for like a month, I
yeah.
think.
Oh
So
wow, that's weird.
that is
Um,
weird. We've been doing this for a month.
yeah, so there's that. Also, oh my gosh, this is very new. But PewDiePie released his Coco Melon diss track.
Legit?
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to that later.
Yeah. It was pretty good. I'm gonna be honest. I spoilers, but I don't really know why he was dissing 6ix9ine in there. I was a little confused, but also I was very tired while watching it. So, um but was still very supportive. Um I was a little confused on that part. Once you watch it, I don't know if you'll be confused or not, but I kind of was, but you haven't watched it yet, so but just want to say
Yeah.
not that PewDiePie will ever listen to this podcast. Never. Um like that's no. But I was very hyped for that. I'm a very big, well, I think both of us are pretty big like
Yeah.
PewDiePie fans. So, you know what? Sorry, not to go off on a tangent. But
Go
it's
ahead.
kind of weird, and it might also just because I don't talk to anyone in person, but a lot of people I see online like are not fans of PewDiePie. Like the people that I guess quote unquote interact with like on Tumblr and Wattpad, which makes sense because they're all like PewDiePie is um it's funny to me how it has over 100 million subscribers, but I barely meet anyone that's like a fan of him. Like they know of
Same.
him, but they're not a fan. Even though there's like a huge fan base because I'm in the server and it's freaking huge. But like I don't meet anyone. Like you're the first person I've met and talked with that's a fan of him.
Oh, legit?
Yeah,
That's weird.
I know.
I mean, like, oh no, I had a friend in middle school who was a fan of them, but like, or a fan of him, but that is weird to think about.
Yeah.
Well, come to think of it, I haven't like unless someone outright said it to me, because like I know like the only real way to discern if someone's like a fan just by looking at them is if they're wearing merch. And I know not everyone can get merch and stuff. So unless you actually talk to a person and they say that they like a YouTuber or a musician or whatever, then you'll know. But it's just like it is really weird because especially in our environment, like, our schools and stuff, you would expect a lot of people to be fans because like it's YouTube. Everyone watches YouTube.
Yeah, and I've only seen one person with merch
That's weird.
at our school. It
Come to think of
yeah,
it, me too. There was a kid in my math class.
and it's probably the same person
Yeah.
because I think
He had the
he's in your
big
grade. So,
brain hoodie.
uh then he must have a few. Or well, actually, we don't know if it's the same person, but
Yeah.
it was a yeah, that was kind of a tangent. We don't really need to go too much farther into it, but
Yeah.
do you want to talk about why this does not flow at all, but
Oh, it doesn't.
cats. Not the movie,
Cat.
just actual cats.
Oh. Um. So, little story time. I have 2 cats. Their names are Loki and Natasha, and they're little jerks. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. They're little jerks. And I love them so much. They're my babies, they're my precious children. But what in their brain makes them say, "Hey, this is okay," and I'm gonna go do it? Because like they all Loki at least jumps on my. Oh, if you heard that, that was
Yeah,
Loki.
they probably did.
That was Loki. Yeah, he's loud. And he always jumps on my desk and he tries to I have a bunch of posters and stuff about a bunch of my above my desk that like either like friends drew for me, like I got from conventions, commissions, stuff like that. Like charms, and I have a couple of ornaments, whatever. I basically have like a thing going on my wall. And he likes to jump up on my desk and try to eat everything. And when I say everything, I mean like the thumbtacks too. And I genuinely don't understand what inside of his little brain says that, hey, you know what we're gonna do today? We're gonna jump on the desk and we're gonna eat pins. I just don't understand their little thought process. They have nothing in there. Their brain is so empty. Anyways, cats are jerks. That was my little tangent.
All right. Yes, to add on to that, I don't have cats. We have like where I live, we have like street cats. They're not feral cats, so like they don't like pee all over the place. But we just have street cats, so they're like pretty chill. They kill the mice and everything, so we don't have like rat or mice problems, so that's nice.
You know what's
Um
weird? My dog is like the mouse killer.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Actually, like beagles and dachshunds, like they're meant to do that.
Oh, legit?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have a pit bull.
Yeah, my dog, oh, I mean like pit bulls, yeah. Like I mean any dog can, but I was just like saying that beagles and dachshunds,
Yeah.
like they were dachshunds. My dad told me about this video. Uh, he didn't show the video to me. I haven't looked it up, but there's such things as killer dachshunds, and he said it was like some Russian thing. You would be, I don't know, maybe this is like a really niche thing that you have never heard of. I don't know, not to because I don't want to
You've
assume that.
intrigued me. Continue.
But they just take they have a little pack of dachshunds and they're like attack or whatever, and they attack this like some animal and they're really aggressive and like killer dachshunds, and I just wow.
You know what? The thing is that I think if you like actually said the Russian name, I think I would recognize it, but that sounds like an extremely Russian thing, and I wouldn't put it past people in Russia to do that.
Like that's just like a dachshund.
Mhm.
It's a weird dog for to put like killer in front of it. Cause it's like it's really just a hot dog with fur.
A hot dog with fur. A hot dog with fur. Oh my gosh.
Like if we really want to put it down to its basic functions, I guess in Russia they just put killer. So it's a killer hot dog with
Hey,
fur.
Evangeline, do you want to
What?
know what I forgot to do?
Yeah, you forgot to put the timer. I
Forgot to
already
put on the
yeah.
timer. Did
Honestly, this one I kind of just feel like going with it and seeing how long we get it. Because actually, I listened to the new Sweet Boys episode. They're on episode 10 already, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird. And it was an hour and 26 minutes. So I was like,
Minute.
and I enjoyed every second of it.
Well, then we'll just keep this one going, and if it's too wrong, you can splice out parts.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Uh, I kind of we do have a lot of talking points, and I keep on thinking of more as we're going on with
Yeah.
this, but actually holy crap. I don't know what has happened with Marvel in the past few years, but they need to go back to being a 3-year-old or whatever age you get potty trained and get potty trained because they are peeing and leaking all over the place. I know that's a really gross analogy, but that's what's
My
happening
gosh,
right
you're talking
now.
about the WandaVision leaks. I was like, where is this going? Never say that again in my vicinity. I will not hesitate to cap you. I will not hesitate.
But they are. Okay, look. Most of the leaks that have happened or spoilers, which now they're pretty contained. Well, now they aren't, as I just said, but most of them are because of Tom Holland, Mark Ruffalo, and occasional disgruntled Disney employees. Occasionally, like probably one of the biggest leaks to happen pre-Infinity War, because honestly, the spoiler, I don't know if it's a fandom, a group, because I'm kind of a part of it. I'm more of a viewer than like a contributor. But pre-Infinity War, it was just like it wasn't as big as a thing to leak things. Um, and I think the biggest thing to happen was Mark Ruffalo live streaming the first like 10 or 15 minutes of Thor Ragnarok at the premiere. And then like yeah, that was like the biggest thing to happen. And it was an accident. And it's a joke now. But Infinity War. Actually no, Infinity War that was kept under wraps pretty good. I think the only like major thing that happened was Mark Ruffalo joking about everyone dying, but not everyone dying, and then Don Cheadle like reacted like way too concerned about it. So there was that. And then they kind of used Tom Holland to like reveal the poster. That was most definitely a PR stunt. Um but then Endgame. Something cracked after Endgame because there was some, I think I mentioned this before in a previous episode, but just to recap, Marvel had this private screening with some rich guys in Saudi Arabia, and they screen recorded like all the huge elements of Endgame and leaked it. That was a really big deal. And then obviously leaks happen once the premiere happens. Like it's usually like a week after the premiere, because then they do like mini premieres in different countries, as isn't just like the LA Hollywood one.
Mm-hmm.
But and then Spider-Man Far From Home, I kind of remember that being a little bad, but I can't remember because that offense, but that movie was not my fave. Ant-Man and the Wasp, I don't think a lot of people were like, "Ooh, what's gonna happen in Ant-Man and the so that thing." But WandaVision, there has been so many leaks, so many, and Mandalorian did not have this. So it's not, I don't know if it's a TV show issue, if they just have an untrustworthy group of people working on this. And I guess it sounds kind of hypocritical of me to like bash Marvel for not keeping it under wraps when I read these spoilers and I watch these leaks. But I'm I'm just saying that like it's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like if one leak happened, like the 30-second clip that we freaked out about a couple weeks ago, if that just happened, like okay. But there have been so many revealing set photos. The Quicksilver Pietro reveal, oh oops, spoilers, whatever, you should have watched it. You
Yeah.
already know what we're talking about. That got leaked pretty much a year ago and no one took it seriously. And a year later, look, you're looking at him. A whole episode 6, that entire script, I'm not joking. The entire script got leaked last week before that episode premiered. And honestly, I was like, there is no way. Someone just had too much time on their hands and went through it. No, it was word from word because I read that script. You may be saying, okay, that's a bit far for reading spoilers. You're reading an entire script of an episode before it releases. Yes, I did. Okay, I did. And I'm not ashamed of it. I still enjoyed that episode very thoroughly. That was a word from word script. Like, I was floored. I was watching the episode and I was like, oh my gosh, like that script actually got leaked. That has, I don't remember that ever happening with any Disney thing. It didn't even happen with Rise of Skywalker, which pretty much the entire plot got leaked, but not an entire script. Like, what? So, Marvel, you need to get it under wraps. You need to get it under wraps because as much as I love spoilers, you have a security issue. You need to go through your employees, do whatever you need to do. But like, wow. That's insane.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And
honestly, I've never even seen this much stuff be like leaked or spoiled for a show.
No, I mean, there are some revealing set photos of Agnes. When I mean revealing, I don't mean revealing, I mean like actually like plot revealing. So
yeah.
Okay, like right now. I mean, this is probably not real. WandaVision or Doctor Strange 2 conversation between Wanda and Strange. I'm not going to read it out loud, obviously. It's literally like 5 lines. I have a feeling it's not real. That one just like doesn't feel real. But I also said that about the script and it was very much real. So I don't know what's going on with Marvel, and hopefully, Marvel, you don't take this as a sign to not hire me because honestly, I keep secrets good when they need to be kept. If my job was on the line, there is no way I would ever be contributing to that spoiler subreddit. I would stay on it though because that would be extremely funny if I knew what was going on and I could see all these people like freak out about fake headlines. That would be funny. But yeah. Marvel, you need to go back to the potty training phase because something happened.
Stop using that analogy, please. I'm begging you.
But I don't know what else to use.
Just say stop leaking stuff. Don't use the potty
leaking. Okay.
I will walk over to your exact location right now and sucker punch you.
You could never. Oh my gosh. No. Okay, speaking of Disney Plus,
Speaking of
the
Marvel,
Falcon and the Winter Falcon and the Winter Soldier
trailer.
That trailer really because at first when I saw the first trailer, I was a little worried about the show, but that next trailer really met my expectations.
Listen,
so
I watched it in the car while I was getting food with my friend yesterday. This is the dynamic that I'm talking about. I've been waiting for this. I'm so excited. I am so I cannot describe how excited I am for this show. And it's coming out next month. And
a week after WandaVision.
I am telling you right now, I am not falling behind on this. I am not.
You probably are.
Shut up. Because listen, I've been waiting for this for too long. And I'm so ready. I'm ready for oh god, okay. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. I heard a rumor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to say it or not?
Well, what is it?
It has to do with a relationship in the show.
Say it. I want to know.
And this is about to really ruin some of it because I don't like it.
Well, it's a rumor.
Well, I It could very well be a spoiler. Yeah, this could very well be a spoiler. So I'm just gonna say it now, and it's also been kind of like speculated and theorized about anyways. I don't like it when any character of any gender is thrown around for a romantic interest. It bothers me. I don't care if it's a guy or a girl. And I know some people will be like, well, it's always only girls. Like, no, it happens to guys. I can't give you an example off the top of my head because honestly, I can't even really give you an example for a girl, to be honest, except for like Black Widow. Technically, Batman is thrown around. So
okay, stop stalling and tell me.
It pains me to say this, but I think Bucky and Sharon are gonna be a thing.
I don't want. Okay, listen, I have nothing against that. It's just I don't see it.
It's like,
and maybe you listen. Maybe when I actually watch the show, maybe I'll warm up to it. I don't know, but right now I don't like how it sounds.
It's like I know it's I already know it's gonna be forced. I don't care if Sebastian Stan and Emily Vanderkamp have good chemistry. I just can already sense this is going to be forced for the sake of having a romantic plot line.
I don't want a romantic plot line.
I didn't want it either. I don't want. And here's the thing. I never really hated the idea of Sharon and Steve together. It's just that in the comics, Peggy wasn't as big of a thing. It's stated, it's canon, that Peggy and Cap had a relationship in the comics, but Sharon and Steve's relationship is a much, like, bigger thing than Peggy. Like, Peggy is virtually, like, non-existent in a way. I know that she kind of came back in the current Captain America series, but I've been kind of behind on that, so, because I'm missing an issue and therefore like can't go forward because then I'm going to be very lost. I think that was like one of the last issues I read that she returned. I don't really know how she's returning, but I don't think it was as a romantic thing. And so I understand that like if I hadn't read the comics, yeah, I would have hated Steve and Sharon's relationship because it's weird. It's weird. Like you're screwing your past lover's niece. It's like it.
Yeah.
It's weird. And honestly, it like without my bias of liking their relationship in the comics, like it felt forced, and I feel like they're just forcing Sharon with any like war hero type character. And that annoys me because it's just like she's a good enough character and like just develop her character instead of and again, and people are going to be like, this is the problem with spoilers. People assume that because of this one thing, and then you don't get to enjoy it. No, I will enjoy the show. I know I'll enjoy the show, but you can't enjoy. Well, you can. I pretty much enjoy everything about WandaVision, but it's like, just don't do a romantic plot line.
I don't. The thing is that the whole thing. Okay, the whole thing that I was looking forward to, is Bucky's and Sam's dynamic. Because they have a really good dynamic. So I'm like, I'm finally going to get, finally going to get a little bit of dynamic. We're going to expand on their relationship. They're going to have some moments. They're going to grow as people. They're going to solve this. Hi, Loki. They're going to solve everything, and they're going to, they're going to be friends at the end and whatever. It's basically, they're going to explore their relationship more and, expand on it. And they're going to grow. And that's what I was looking forward to. And yeah, you might argue that a romantic relationship might help that, but I don't want a romantic relationship. I just want Sam and Bucky.
Why? And if they want to go, because like trios are very common.
Mm-hmm.
Trios are very common, and I honestly like I know obviously like the show is gonna focus on Bucky and Sam's relationship. It's not like Sharon's gonna be there and like take up most of the time. That's
Yeah.
not really what I'm worried about. I just don't want it, period, that I don't care if it was with Sam or with Bucky or whatever other character. I just don't like Sharon being tossed around. But I don't mind there being an element of a trio thing where it's Sam, Sharon, and
Yeah, me
Bucky.
either.
I actually I really like that. But can we just remove the romance part of it? Like, it doesn't need to be there. Like, right now, I think the trio between Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy is amazing. Like,
Same.
that's an
Oh, I
amazing
love them.
trio, and no one's like trying to screw each other in that trio. They're just friends supporting each other, and I'm like, why can't we just stick with that? Like,
Okay, I caught up on WandaVision, so I finally watched all the episodes that are out.
yeah,
It only took me like a month or something, but
yeah.
I love Jimmy so much. He deserves so much. I love him. He's the only man with rights. I love him.
I don't know why, but and I'm sure this is like a feeling throughout the fandom that like a lot of us share, but I am so ready for like enhanced beings to be a thing. I don't know why I said it like that, but I want superheroes to be a thing because I would be their number one supporter. I am ready. I know I like I'm ready. You know, because it's just whenever someone like Hayward wants to do
Screw
this
that
whole
man.
thing
I
where
hate
they're
him.
like, "Oh, she's a terrorist." Oh, shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. I have
I'm
no
like,
time for you.
hey, buddy. No one asked.
No,
There
no
are
one
no
asked.
actors in this room. No one asked.
I am a adamant supporter of superheroes. And I'm not even talking just like, oh, well, you know, you're just a nerd and these are fictional characters and you don't really know what would happen in life. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have not spent over a decade researching these people to turn around when they actually pop up in real life to say, get out of here, you weirdo. We're putting you in jail. I would never. I would never.
Are you saying that at one point in our livelihood we're going to see actual superheroes?
I hope so.
I mean, honestly,
I
I
hope
wouldn't be
so.
surprised.
I like participated in this poll and it was like, would you rather have $1 million or be Spider-Man? And you know I chose be Spider-Man.
Oh,
You
100%.
know
Are you
that.
kidding me? Are you kidding
Screw
me?
that money. Screw that money.
I would be Spider-Man. Like, wait, does that include like the dead parents?
I mean, I don't know. It just said be Spider-Man, so
I mean, either way, I'd still be Spider-Man.
but actually we have a lot of other talking points, but I feel like we've gotten into this superhero thing and if it ends up being early, whatever. But
Whatever.
I actually in talking about like supporting those that are like different from us, this is kind of going to get serious.
Yeah.
But this actually goes into like how I got into Marvel and I don't know, like I think you've already talked about your journey into it. I don't know why we're acting like this is our like we're born again. Oh, no religion. Sorry. Oops, I did it again.
Oh well.
But I'd like to state that I think I've stated this before. But when Iron Man came out, I knew what it was. Like when I was 5 and, you know, actually I wasn't allowed to watch the Batman trilogy. It wasn't that I was allowed to watch. My parents just like didn't put it on when I was there. Because it is kind of an intense movie. I did end up watching it when I was like, wait, when did Dark Knight? This has nothing to do with it, but I actually just want to get this down. The Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012, so I would have been 9. Yeah, so I was 9 when I watched all the Batman trilogy films, but that has nothing to do with this. So Iron Man came out in 2008. I was 5. I literally don't care if but I was kind of like slowly getting into it. I knew who Superman was. I knew who Batman was. Like the basics. I knew my ABCs of superheroes. Then the next year came around. And I got like my first comic books from my brother. Shout out. Not that I'm gonna let him know that I'm making this, because that's weird. But he gave me my first comic book, and it was The Amazing Spider-Man Family, and it just had a lot of collections, like little mini one-shots of all the like Spider-Man characters. And one of the ads in there was for Marvel.com. And back then, about 8 years ago or so, now Marvel.com is a different site. I don't go on there. Well, I go on there, but it's really just to like redeem my comic books, and that's about it. But when you went on Marvel.com, that was my virtual Disneyland. They had every game for every character. You could make your own comic book character. You could do anything you wanted on that site. That was superhero related. I don't know why I had to clarify that, but I just felt like I did, because I felt like someone out there was because I already twisted it. See, I'm already twisting it up. Can't get your mind out of the gutter. But I went on there and I played like all the X-Men games. Like that was my go-to. And I had watched the X-Men movies. My family, we own the DVD, like original trilogy of the X-Men. So X-Men, X2, X3, Last Stand. Oof, that last movie is a rip. But I was playing one of the Wolverine games, and my brother came by and he was like, "Oh, so you like X-Men?" And I was like, I think so." Because, like, I honestly, like, I'll admit it, I was not at the level that I was. My brain was not that big. My brain just wasn't that big. I was like, sure. And so he comes out. I'm about to introduce you to my Bible. My Bible. It's a little messed up. It needed some duct tape over the years. But that was my X-Men encyclopedia that he gifted to me. And I'm not even joking. I will cherish that book forever. I will cherish that book forever, because if it wasn't for that book, I would have never been at this state. And y'all can say this is a sad state to be in. This is a depressing state to be in. Well, Evangeline, you could be helping people crossing the street, but instead you stay in your room all day researching comic books and voting on the next X-Men poll. But you know what I say to them haters?
What do you say?
I'm going to tell you about a little girl that opened up that book. That opened up a book that opened up her mind to so many possibilities. And that's not really a thing that you would say is a comeback, but I'm going to tell them a story. Because I like telling stories. And if I wouldn't want to tell stories, I don't know where this is going. I know where it's going, but I also don't. I only write stories because of this book. There is an introduction, and it was by Stan Lee, because he created X-Men. And then it went through all the decades of X-Men. And then it was like a cycle. It was like watch the movies, went back to my encyclopedia, went online to play my games. Then I saw all the X-Men cartoons and everything like that. X-Men is my go-to. And I'm a huge Tony Stark stan. I'm an Iron Man stan. I will admit that. And I will marry Wonder Woman and Talia al Ghul and Lara Croft. Lara Croft has nothing to do with this, but
now you're just.
I will marry Talia al Ghul and Wonder Woman at any point of time. But X-Men is my holy grail. That's and I also stan Godney, of course. Again, that has nothing to do with superheroes, but I just need to list the things that I love. And X-Men and Stan Lee are at the top of that list because without those two, I would be a very different person. I truly believe that. And I just want to get into why X-Men is so like meaningful. And it's really because it's just a bunch of outcasts. Like, and I know that's like, no, it's not stupid. I'm just saying that other people think it's stupid because it's like, oh, it's just like superheroes. Like, what is even the meaning of it? Like, oh, it's like Wolverine sticks with his freaking claws, like whatever. No, it's not just, oh, his little adamantium claws that he got from being experimented on. No, it's about being an outcast and not fitting in. Whatever it is, your race, your religion, your sexuality, your interests, whatever you want. It's all about not fitting in and people disrespecting you because of it, I just said outcast, but outcasting you because of it and just treating you as lesser because they're better than you and they're like the cookie cutter whatever. And X-Men has always resonated with me for that reason. Because not to be like, oh, I'm not like other girls or whatever. But I mean, I'm sure everyone can say, like, I've always felt different. But I'm not talking about your regular, popular high school, like, clique. That's not who X-Men is for. It can be for them. I'm not trying to gatekeep. But X-Men is for the people who felt like they were not those people, you know? And to grow up with that and to grow up with, you know, and this is another thing, when to get into like the whole females in comics and females having, you know, more leading roles in media, superheroes were such a big thing for me. And honestly, like when Wonder Woman in 2017 came out, I loved the film, don't get me wrong. Huge Wonder Woman stan here. But I had some people like come up to me and ask me like, "Oh, what do you think about like the first female-led superhero movie since like you're cuz I'm into it." And I kind of got annoyed that they asked me that because I wasn't like annoyed, but it was just like a weird feeling because I didn't even look at it like that because I had always grown up with like strong superheroines. Like I grew up with Rogue and Jean Grey and Psylocke and Black Widow and all of these characters. Scarlet Witch, I could go on for days. But I grew up with those characters and that's who I mainly like I looked up to. So but, you know, mutants, X-Men especially, also this is a very jumbled mess. I'm replaying it in my head as I keep going and it's like stop, just stop. No one wants to listen to this, but I want to talk about it. I love that idea because I read Stan Lee's autobiography. And it was in like a graphic novel, like comic book form, which I thought was really cool. And in there, he was retelling this time that he was in a car. It was like the 70s or something, because the X-Men came out in the 60s. And he was in a group with these kind of like hippie kids, and they were all going around saying like, oh, the X-Men means this, like it's supposed to represent, you know, gay rights, it's supposed to represent racial like inequality and all of this. And he basically just said yes to all of it. And I was like, wow. Like that spoke, I mean, although I already kind of understood that, for him to like say it in his book just spoke volumes to me, because um sure, I'm not a victim of like racism. I've never even really been like attacked because I'm female or whatever. But personally, like personality wise, um, I noticed that like I just don't really fit in with like the in crowd, I guess. So comics has always been my way to like have my own little environment that I'm happy in and can like contribute to and take from in some way. And X-Men, as I've said multiple times before this, has really been there for me. And so what I was talking about with WandaVision and like Hayward talking about that is because, and also after I watched the episode of WandaVision actually yesterday, I watched X-Men Days of Future Past. And whenever there's a speech or some monologue about like, you know, how the humans have treated mutants, and it's just like, how could you treat us this way? Like, we didn't ask for these powers. We didn't ask to be this way. We're just here trying to make the best of it. And you're over here creating weapons to like destroy us and hurt our children and hurt, you know, our brothers and sisters. Like, you and I are still like, we still have the same hopes and dreams and everything like that. Like, it makes me like, it just like, I drop all my stuff and I just look at that, because it's not, I feel like today in regular, like when you're watching the news and you're watching all these stupid politicians, not to get into politics, I'm really going to try to like skim over this. And this is, I feel like this can just be like a regular, like it's not partisan, it's not biased. I can't listen to those people because they have money behind it and they have all this stuff behind it. And I'm sure a lot of people can agree. And I just can't get behind them saying like, let's all get together and blah 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 blah, because it's like, you're old and have millions of dollars or whatever. And I don't know. But when someone, yes, it's a fictional character, but that helps me be a better person and do, and like, this is getting so preachy, but
Fine.
like those moments, I think it's like people should pay more attention to it, because, you know, people who are different from you any which way, and no, I'm not talking about criminals and everything, like actual bad people. I'm talking about regular people who just have different things going on with them, who are different from the in crowd. They deserve to be treated like everyone else. And I don't care if it's from, you know, your race all the way down to just your personality is not the regular expected personality. And so I wish I had this written down because it would make a lot more sense. But what I'm trying to say is that I think everyone should research. I'm advocating English classes to have units on X-Men. I'm advocating for that because X-Men has taught me more about equality in treating others with respect than many of my teachers have.
Mhm.
So this is a diss track to all my teachers. Just kidding. But X-Men was my classroom. That was my classroom on like being a decent person. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it off on that because I think I repeated myself enough. But I think all of you out there, I don't care if you've never watched a Marvel movie in your life. I don't care if you've never read a comic in your life. Go and watch, and I understand Bryan Singer, the director of the first two X-Men films and X-Men Days of Future Past and X-Men Apocalypse. Pretty sure, actually, yeah, no, I think he got accused of, he either was Harvey Weinsteining it or he was like an actual pedophile. He's the director of those films. So put that aside. Not advocating for those people, okay? We're not advocating for those people. Those people deserve to go to jail for the rest of time. But watch X-Men. Watch the first X-Men. And definitely like I feel like the three most like prominent films and that like really encapsulate that idea of just like like human decency and equality like are the first X-Men, X-Men First Class, and X-Men Days of Future Past. They're all, in my opinion, like great films, and I think you should watch them because if I mean they're just good films and they really shaped who I am as a person. And Sophia over here may say, well, Evangeline, you're still a garbage person who laughs when people say their grandma died. And that could very well be true. And I could just have a really huge complex, God complex. But if you haven't watched those movies, please watch them. If you're not like, if you feel like you need to watch something else, because movies and media do have an influence on people, and you can either choose to let it have an influence on you, or you can just sit back and like watch it and whatever. And either way, that's fine. But if you really want to like just take in what a movie is trying to say, like I don't know, like those are just films that really just like not resonated, but just spoke to me and taught me lessons before like actual people taught me those lessons. So yeah, there's some film recommendations. There's some background on me. None of it made sense. It sounded preachy.
You just had like a whole freaking sermon.
Yes, I did.
I'm not complaining. I was sitting back. I was like actually listening.
So yeah. That also, I just like to say Days of Future Past is such a good film, like regardless of like any themes, like well actually no, it's with the themes and messages. It's just that is such an amazing film. I understand the director is a pedophile, but the movie is amazing. The movie is amazing.
I've never watched the X-Men, but before you say anything, I've been meaning to get around to it because I actually really do want to watch it.
All right, you better watch them.
I know they have 3 of them on Disney Plus.
They have X-Men, X2. They do not have X-Men X3 Last Stand. They don't have First Class, but they do have Days of Future Past and Apocalypse. Mm-hmm. And they don't have Dark Phoenix, which you don't need to watch. You don't need to watch that. It ruined. Oh, they hired the same person who not directed or wrote for X3 Last Stand. They used that same person who was in charge of that heaping pile of garbage for Dark Phoenix. Like, that's the ultimate not learning from your lesson.
Yeah.
Not learning what I don't know what I just said. But yeah, that was a mistake. Those two movies were a mistake.
Yeah, I was in like a Dimple or something, which I don't know if I mentioned this before. Dimple used they went bankrupt like 2 years ago or
Yeah.
something. It's really sad. I miss Dimple so much. But Dimple was a thrift store basically for music, comics, movies, and books and records and stuff like that. So it was like entertainment and media. It was basically a thrift store like that. And I would go like every weekend or so to go look for with my dad. But I was like looking at something and like my news. Oh my god. I'm so sorry if you hear that. My cats are running around like crazy. But I was looking at my news app for some reason. I don't know. I guess I got a notification. And it was like Dark Phoenix, like opening box office bombed or something like that. Like it was like a terrible opening. And I was like, oh, that's like, wow. Like
It was bad.
Yeah, because like they were like, it was when I think about back in that time, it was like like Marvel, like the phase 3 of Marvel was ending.
Yeah,
and
the Fox merger happened.
Yeah, and X-Men ended. So I was like, oh, like, you know, the comparison of the I don't remember if they came out like at a similar time or they came out at the same time. But I remember, like, you know, Endgame when it first came out did have a huge positive uproar. At least what I saw was very like, oh, Endgame, like, you know, it was like, thank you, and like, you know, it was like very positive and very like excited. And then when I looked over to the X-Men side, everyone's like, man, this is garbage.
Yeah. I couldn't like I didn't see that movie in theaters when it opened because I heard so many bad things about it, and 2017 Logan was released and that was such a phenomenal like movie in that universe, and I really didn't want to like leave off on a bad note with that franchise that like I said before, like really shaped my childhood. And so I was Dark Phoenix was finally like on streaming or whatever. And I could not get through it. I couldn't get through it. Like I watched the first maybe 20 minutes and I had to exit because it was so awful. It was so awful. And I was like, I was borderline about to cry because it was just like, I can't do this. Like, I cannot watch this movie ruin what, I mean, it hasn't been 20 years for me, but like, that's 20 years of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Just down the freaking
Drain.
garbage, like, down the drain. And so Logan is what I have left off on. That's what I've left off on.
Yeah. It's like you spend all this time building up this story and this franchise and this, like, you know, characters that fans love and adore. And then you just kind of go screw everything and just kind of produce garbage.
Yeah.
And it's like I know this isn't to the same degree because, you know, with Star Wars, you're still able to separate everything because they're basically trilogies. You can still just focus on a certain trilogy. But that's kind of what I felt like now that we're talking about this. Like, it's really similar to how I felt when I watched Rise of Skywalker.
Ugh.
Because we're gonna get into this conversation of Rise of Skywalker. So a little bit of background. When I watched Rise of Skywalker, it was on May the 4th. I specifically remember this because it was May the 4th. And you and me actually watched it together.
Yes, we did.
When it came out on Disney Plus. And I was like, oh, I'm ready. Like I've gotten into Star Wars. Like I've finished watching every other movie. Like I'm halfway through Clone Wars. I was like, yeah, let's get into it. And like I don't think I knew it was a bad movie, but I think I knew that it had negative reviews. Like it wasn't the most favorite movie. And I didn't really know what happened. Well, I wasn't really aware of like what the notion of the movie was. And then I sat down and I watched it and I hated it so much.
It was horrible.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was horrible.
Oh, because the thing is that, in my opinion, okay, prequel trilogy, loved it. I know it's like bad, but it's bad in a charming way. Yes. And it's always nice. Even Attack of the Clones, which is a garbage movie, like from a like script standpoint and acting, like the whole I hate sand thing was so just I don't know. Anyway, it's not the best movie. It's iconic, and you're always gonna come back to it and watch it just because of what the fan base made of it and how it just became its own thing. And that's like a really nice thing to see that a bad movie turned into a good movie just because. I'm sorry, give me a moment. Like, give me a fat moment.
But yeah, Rise of Skywalker was just trash because, like we were saying before, the prequel trilogy.
I'm sorry, like my cousin came home, I had to shut my door.
Oh yeah, no problem.
So if you can cut that part out where I say give me a fat minute.
No, I just went on. I don't need to cut anything. What
was I saying?
After you.
Sorry, you want to go or?
After you said give me a moment, I just continued so I didn't have to cut anything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But it's really nice that like, people took something that at base value wasn't that good and made a good of it. And like, original trilogy, iconic. It's the original trilogy. Good movies. You always come back to it and you love them. Sequel trilogy. I didn't hate them. I didn't hate the first two movies. I thought they were okay. Like they were entertaining. Not cinematic genius, not like some groundbreaking new thing. But I feel like if I wanted to come back and watch them, I could and I would still enjoy them. But Rise of Skywalker, I have not watched it since, and I don't plan on watching it since. Despite my not so huge love for the sequel trilogy, I still like the characters. I didn't really like Rey. I'm not. We can go trash. A lot of people are like, they don't like Rey because she's a woman and she's a powerful woman. No, I don't like her because she's not written well. She's not written well. Like, okay, so the whole I'm gonna go into this tangent. So when she touches the lightsaber in that like cave hallway room thingy, and it's like Luke's saber or something, whatever. When she touched it and she like saw the memories of it, that, if I remember correctly, that Jedi power is actually extremely rare. And
it is. And it was never touched again, by the way.
It was never touched on again. And it's an extremely rare power. And if I believe correctly, it was like you had to go through a lot of training to like master and everything. And to see her just, oh, I remember the powers, or I remember the memories from the saber, and then just called it a day. You could have had this whole thing where she realizes her Jedi powers and that she's, she has this connection to the Force and everything. And you could have made her a great Jedi, and you could have had this whole thing, and you could have had an actually well-written character that was powerful, that had good character development, that happened to be a woman, and you could have had this whole thing. But no, you didn't. You didn't. And now look what we have. We have this steaming pile of garbage that I never want to touch again. And I'm still upset over this. And I know I'm getting kind of heated about this. I'm very upset over Hux. Hux's death. It was why? Answer me. Answer me. Why?
because they didn't care about any of the lore. It's
Hux
like
could have been the baddest. I'm not gonna say that word on the block. We could have had it all. We could have had it all. Because listen, I liked Hux, maybe because he was a ginger and I have a thing for gingers, but that's besides the point. I liked him a lot because it was like it felt like he was the mastermind behind it all. He had like this banter with Kylo because Kylo was a childish man and he kept throwing tantrums, and Hux just wanted power and he wanted to be the I just felt like he wanted to be the villain, but no one let him be the villain. And we could have had the villain arc of the century, but no, we couldn't. We couldn't. And just instead he was some rebel spy that got killed by I don't even remember what his name is. I don't even want to remember what his name is. That other general. He just got gratified by them and called it a day. I hate it so much.
like it would have been one thing if like we got another instance of the prequel trilogy where it's like it understood the core, like the fundamental basics of what Star Wars is and supposed to be, but it was just bad acting, bad script. Like, obviously, that would have sucked, but at least we would have gotten an entertaining story.
Mm-hmm.
The sequel trilogy looked at all the lore because
Said
they
no.
knew what the lore was, because it wouldn't have been that bad if they didn't know what the lore was, because they looked at the past movies and they said, let's try to do some cool, like, subverting everyone's expectations. No, there's a certain way to do that, and you didn't do it. You know
Yeah.
what you did? You took all the characters we loved and ruined them. You took Leia, made her a bad mom, and then made her, like, say, I'm a head out in the last movie. Which is so, like, it's incredibly like, disrespectful considering that Carrie Fisher passed, like, Princess Forever. You took Han, made him and Chewie the equivalent of Cheech and Chong smoking pot on a Millennium Falcon. Weren't doing that, but um, and I mean, I get it. Harrison Ford wanted to be out, so like whatever. But you had him like murdered by his own son and thrown off a freaking bridge, and that's that. Luke Skywalker, our golden farm boy, you turned him into a hermit and banished him to some stupid island.
He could have been he could have been having them Gucci boots. He could have been living on a luscious mansion. Not
Sorry,
really,
Sophie, it's the Chanel boots.
Sorry, Chanel, but he has a little bit of spice. He has a little bit of flavor. Sometimes he goes with the Gucci. Just saying. I'm just saying, we could have had it all. We could have had it all. He could have been living on a luscious mansion on this wonderful seaside planet. But no, he had to turn into a hermit that's all emo and just yeets his lightsaber. Huh? Huh?
Like, I don't...
What?
The Force Awakens, is literally just it's like someone asked to copy your homework, and then even though you gave them their homework well in advance before the homework was due, they did it like an hour before it was due. That's what The Force Awakens was. It was a crappy remake of New Hope. That's what it was. That's all I have to say on that movie. Like, it was boring. It was so boring. And it ruined Han's character. Last Jedi.
The only good thing that came out of Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion, was seeing Lando again, and I live by that.
That was nice. Yeah, I guess that was nice.
I love Lando.
That was the Last Jedi. The Last Jedi. Now, I get that it's a fanboy thing to hate on The Last Jedi. I understand that there's a thing around that, and I did not hate on Last Jedi because of Kelly Marie Tran. I didn't hate on Last Jedi because of Rey and Daisy Ridley. I didn't hate on it because of that. I hated on it because it wasn't a good Star Wars film. Just like I don't think the new MCU Spider-Man movies are good Spider-Man films. I think they're entertaining. They're somewhat good films. They're not good whatever that focus is film. They were not a good Star Wars film. I will give full credit to Rian Johnson for being a good director of a movie. But I will not sit here and say that he changed what Star Wars is. No one asked you to change what Star Wars is. No one asked you to do that. So don't. We don't. Because a lot of the people, and I have seen very few people, I mean, feel free to prove me wrong, but I have seen very few people who are genuine fans of the original trilogy who enjoyed what Rian Johnson and company did with the story for Last Jedi. I have seen very few people, because I am a huge fan of the original trilogy, as most, actually a lot of people are, but ought not to be like all these new fans came in and ruined everything. But they kind of did. I don't know. I feel like they don't really understand about, and instead went on this whole like thing of like, The Last Jedi revolutionized what Star Wars means. You know, all these fanboys and all these haters just didn't want to see any change with the Star Wars story. And it's like, because we didn't. No one asked for you to do all this with Star Wars. If anything, you kind of ruined what those characters were. Like, it just, that movie just made me so mad. It makes me so mad. And the only interesting part of it was, and everyone's about to click off, but the only interesting part of it was Reylo. That relationship. That is the only interesting part of that entire trilogy. And they didn't. If you want to be like, oh, let's add something new, add that. Just add that. Don't ruin Luke Skywalker. Don't ruin Han Solo. Don't ruin Leia. Don't do all this other crap and do like a tangent on that has really nothing to do with the plot line on that casino planet about whatever. Ooh, like, oh, whatever they were talking about. I don't know. I don't like. We already get the point of like, ooh, good rebellion people against fascist leaders. Like, we get it. You don't need to add another plot line about how money bad. Okay, like, I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for you to ruin my golden farm boy, Luke Skywalker, and I didn't ask for you to make Leia a bad mom. And I didn't ask for you to throw Han Solo off a bridge after his own son stabbed him. I didn't ask for any of that.
Me either.
I just wanted a good, basic, old Star Wars story. And by the point of Rise of Skywalker, I was just fed up. I already had a bad outlook going into it because I already hated the first two films. Yes, I will put hate in front of that. I extremely disliked whatever because I do kind of want to get a job at Marvel or Disney, so and Rise of Skywalker, it's like, oh, like they I don't even know what they did. Like, how did anyone okay that? How did anyone okay that mess? Like, by the way, Sophia and I mean, to be fair, I'm not, I cut out. Not trying to take away any of your work. but I have a whole like rewrite for the sequel trilogy. I have a whole rewrite. Is it amazing? No, but do I think it's better than what they gave us? Yes. I don't know if Sophia agrees. Maybe Sophia's just like over here for the past few months, like, yeah, that's really great, Evangeline. Definitely
Good
not
for you.
trashy fanfic level of script writing. It's not a script writing, it's literally just like bullet points of what I want in a plot. But I do have a whole, and I would be willing to share that, not on this episode because we are definitely an hour in.
Oh, 100%.
But next episode, I may just share that script writing. I didn't mean for this whole Star Wars thing to like turn into a me thing, but I want to show you the possibilities that they could have had. They could have taken from any of the Star Wars Legends lore, but they didn't. And I will be forever salty about it. And I hope this whole sequel trilogy, and not to like erase. And I also feel weird about like erasing the sequel trilogy because Carrie Fisher was in it and I don't want to erase her work. But I kind of want this whole sequel trilogy to just be retconned. Like, I won't shed a tear over it. You know, like just get new writers, get new directors, get Kathleen Karen Kennedy out of there. That's not her middle name. I just want to call her that. Get her out of there. Get a whole new team of people. Get Kevin Feige is getting in there. He's getting in there.
Get Kevin Feige in there. I will actually.
I don't know if I can say this, but he's gonna get in them guts. Oh no, I just ruined everything that we've been trying to not do on this. Okay, if you heard that, I don't know, but maybe you did. I'm gonna leave it in there. I'm gonna see what happens. The director of Wonder Woman, she's coming in and doing a Rogue Squadrons or something like that.
Yes.
I'm excited. Jon Favreau, amazing. Just take all the people you've used with Marvel and just plop them in there because that's what's been working recently. Just take Dave Filoni, Clone Wars, Legend. Get George Lucas back into the mix. I don't care if you need to pay him $50 million to get him to come back into this. I don't care. I don't care if the next movie has the script quality and the script quality and the acting quality of the prequel trilogies. I just want a good, basic Star Wars story. That's all I want. That's it. That's it. So I am asking George Lucas, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, Kevin Feige to all team up. And everyone might be like, oh, that's just a bunch of white males, white cis men coming in there and, you know, making Star Wars for that audience again. No, they're gonna make Star Wars good again. Oh no, I'm gonna sound like this.
Oh no, that's it. We've this whole podcast's gonna get canceled.
I think it's time for us to sign off.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far and you know, don't want to absolutely murder us, thank you. We appreciate it. Follow us on our socials. We are on Twitter at CFG Podcast and on Tumblr at cornflakegang.com.tumblr. And well,
I broke my mic after that. I think I did. Probably everyone's ears are dead. Not even just because of the volume that my voice went at, but just because of the content that I just said.
And well,
I'm not cutting any of it, by the way. I'm not cutting any of it.
But you're gonna have to cut out the part where I said give me a fat minute though.
But I talked like right after you said it.
Oh boy. Yeah, whatever.
We're keeping all of it in. We're
Oh,
keeping
boy.
all of it in.
Oh, boy. All right, anyways, thank you. Follow us on our socials, and we will see you again next Sunday. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.